Most business owners think inventory waste is a manufacturing problem, something that happens on a factory floor, but not inside their type of business. But I want to challenge that today, because whether you run a shop, a trade business, a cafe, or some kind of digital agency, you have inventory. It might be physical stock, open jobs that are only half done, a backlog of support tickets, or drives full of files that nobody has touched in years. It all counts. And when you have more of anything than you actually need, it's costing you money, it's slowing you down, and it's building up hidden problems that you're not aware of. So today I'm going to show you exactly what inventory waste looks like, where it hides in physical and digital businesses, and the steps that you can take to cut it down to size. So quick context first. In lean thinking, waste falls into 8 categories. We can remember these by the acronym downtime, which is defects, overproduction, waiting, non-utilized talent, transportation, inventory, motion, and excess processing. Today, I want to concentrate on the I, which is inventory. And this is one of the most misunderstood wastes, because people just associate this with physical environments. But by the end of this video, hopefully, you'll be able to see some much wider examples. So here's a definition that covers all of it. Inventory waste is having more than you need before you need it. It'll show up in 4 main forms. Excess physical stock, which is too much of something sitting in storage. Open work in progress or WIP, which are tasks and jobs that have been started but not finished, piling up on various points within your operation. Digital file clutter, folders full of outdated documents, duplicated versions and files nobody can find exactly when they need them. And over ordering, which is just in case type ordering, when you buy more than you actually need because you're uncertain about the demand and want to make sure you're covered. So let's look at some real examples in physical environments. So you can see there's 3 physical environments, and for each one I'm going to show you how inventory waste shows up. So first up, we got retail. The issue is overstocked seasonal items. The cause is ordering on guesswork rather than actual sales data. The impact will be cash tied up in stock that isn't moving and space blocked by stock that isn't needed. And the bottleneck is that staff end up spending time moving stock around rather than serving customers. Second example is in trade and workshops. The issue in this case is excess material ordered just in case you need it. The cause is there's no reorder triggers. Nobody has set a point at which actual ordering needs to kick in. So the folks are either ordering too early, or they're ordering much larger quantities than needed just to make sure they feel safe. The impact is clutter, space, and lost items. And the bottleneck is jobs slowed down because people spend time hunting for what they need rather than doing their actual work. And last one, in cafes and hospitality, the issue is too much food being prepped. The cause is overestimating the demand. The impact is waste, spoilage, and in some cases extra fridge capacity required just to hold all the excess. And the bottleneck is staff spending their time rotating stock rather than serving customers. So you can see here there's 3 different types of businesses, but it's the same underlying issue that we're seeing. You're ordering more than you need before you need it, causing someone to do something other than their actual job. So let's talk about a digital environment and 3 examples of that. One is online service, next is a SaaS or a tech team, and then we have an admin or back office. So an online service, an issue could be too many open client projects. A cause could be saying yes to everything rather than having any kind of number or restriction on how many projects you can do at the same time. The impact is slow delivery, a lot of switching between projects and context, causing issues. And then the bottleneck, because you've lost control of the amount of projects you can do concurrently, is your work in progress will slowly grow and things won't be getting completed in a timely manner. In a SaaS tech team, you could have an issue where you've got hundreds of backlog tickets, something I've seen many, many times before. Usually the cause of this is really poor prioritization. And the impact could be noise of all of these different tickets hiding the real issue. And the bottleneck, the team spend a lot of time triaging instead of fixing. And then the last one, admin the back office. An issue could be lots of duplicate files and old versions. A cause is lack of digital housekeeping. The impact of this is searching takes a lot longer. And then the bottleneck is staff can't find documents. And this is something I'm sure you're very familiar with, as we all are, with cluttered desktops, hard to find files, lots of different ways people could communicate with you on various projects, and you just get lost in a whole host of duplicate files and versions. So here's 10 symptoms that tell you you have inventory waste in your business. So take a look and count up how many of these apply. So you have over ordering, poor forecasting, no WIP limits, digital clutter, a just-in-case mindset, no visual controls, no reorder triggers, too many open tasks, no internal controls, and no storage standards. So if you recognize more than 3 of these, inventory waste is almost certainly creating some kind of drag within your business. The good news is that every single one of them is fixable, and none of them require expensive systems or consultants. So before you jump to a fix, it is worth spending a moment on why it's happening. If you misdiagnose the cause, you will implement the wrong solution and the problem will come back. So inventory waste almost always comes from one of 3 places. So it could be a process issue, meaning the way that the process is actually designed or managed is creating a build-up. It could be a people issue, meaning that the ways of working and the behaviours and habits within that ways of working, which have developed over time, are causing inventory, and that's things like over-ordering, just in case, trying to do too many things at once. There's lots of different examples of this. Or it could be a tool or a system issue, which is more around the absence of controls or triggers or limits that would help you control the way that a process is being run. So the question we're trying to ask is, why is this actually happening in the first place? Not how do I get rid of the pile of issues that we have currently now? We're trying to get to that root cause of what's happening to prevent it from happening again. So here's the exciting bit. Here's some of the fixes that you can implement today. And I've split them between physical and digital type businesses. And of course, with many businesses these days, both of these types of things could be occurring at the same time in the same environment. So on the physical side, we set clear reorder points, making sure we understand exactly when to order things. We have visual stock levels, so you can see when things are running low. We reduce our batch sizes, so we're ordering more frequently in smaller quantities rather than large orders of materials. In certain engineering environments I've worked in the past, inventory was a huge KPI that we used to monitor all of the time because so much money would be tied up in the material. And we can also standardize physical storage. Again, a great way to actually have really solid visual management is to be able to see what's being stored. On the digital side, we introduce more strict work in progress limits. We can put a cap on how many projects, tickets, or tasks are being opened at the same time. We can use digital naming conventions on files to make sure they're consistent and more findable. We can archive all of the unused or old files, again, to get rid of all that clutter. And we can prioritize daily work queues so your team knows exactly what to work on next. Now, the banner at the bottom of this slide says something important. Daily clean and reset routines acts as your baseline defense, because the actual fixes you see above that are ways you can start reducing the big pile of things that you have currently today. But this has to be maintained on an ongoing basis. So whatever routine you put in place, we need to make sure we're constantly looking at potential inventory issues. So I want to put this into a bigger picture just for a moment, because inventory waste connects to something more fundamental. Every bottleneck you eliminate is one turn of this wheel. Find it, fix it, lock it, level up, repeat. This is how you build an operation that keeps getting better without you having to run a project every time something goes wrong. The keyword at the center of the wheel is relentless. This is not a one-off clear out. It's not a tidy up a day once per year. It is a permanent operating rhythm of a business that takes improvement seriously. Every time you reduce inventory waste in stock, in WIP, in digital clutter, you're doing one turn of the wheel. And the more turns you do, the smoother and faster everything runs. So the idea here is to think about one bottleneck, one issue at a time, fix it, and then move on to the next one. So this slide just shows this transformation kind of more simply. So before, we're going to have piles of stock, cluttered folders, hidden problems, slow flow. And if you try and map these types of things, you'll start to see that it looks more like this diagram on the left, especially for tracing people's movement around either a physical or a digital keyboard. Look at somebody's screen when they're trying to find a file, it starts to look like this. On the right hand side, the after, you're going to have right size stock, you're going to control your work in progress, you're going to have easier prioritization, faster flow. If you can get all of that in place, that's when your bottlenecks become more visible and way more fixable. What we always tend to think about is inventory is not just waste, it almost camouflages issues within your business that is actually causing you problems every single day. So here's the 5-stop eradication method, and you'll see this a lot when I talk about my bottle buster methods. I like to kind of have a very easy way that you can start thinking about various types of waste. So step 1 is all about identify. So list all of your physical stock, your open digital files, your tasks, anything that's causing inventory. Think about this in a way that everything that's sitting in your business waiting to be used or completed is the inventory. Step 2 is spot. Go through the list and pinpoint exactly what is unused or waiting. Not a general thing, very specifically. Which things haven't moved, for example, 90 days? That can be adjusted depending on how frequent your process is. Which tickets haven't been opened for more than 6 weeks? Which files haven't been opened in a year? Think about what those measures look like for you, but you get the point, how long things are open for. In relation to that is the measure phase. Track how long items are sitting before they get used. This is the number that makes that problem really real. When you know that your average support ticket sits for 18 days before it gets resolved, or that a particular line of stock sits in the shelf for 4 months before it sells, you've got something you can start acting on. Then we have step 4, which is reduce, where you lower your batch sizes and reorder levels for physical stock. You set WIP limits for tasks and projects. You delete or archive what is clearly not needed. And the overall goal of this is to bring the level down to only the things you actually need. And then step 5, set the limit. So establish hard caps that prevent future buildup, a maximum number of open projects, a maximum stock level for each product line, a maximum number of tickets in a particular queue or that have been allocated to somebody. And these really help you set those limits and stop that inventory creeping in over time. And you don't have to do this all at once. So small reductions can lead to much bigger improvements. Just pick one thing, apply these 5 steps, and then monitor what happens. And you can also adjust those levels as you go along to get to a point where you're most comfortable, and that is the most cost benefit to you. So the thing I want to really leave you with is the idea that inventory hides problems. If you reduce it, all of your other bottlenecks become way more visible and fixable. So if you're interested in understanding how you can measure your waste in your business, go ahead and hit the link in the description below over to my website. I've got some free tools there that you can start using straight away that'll help you understand what your wastes are and what the impact of them are. If this type of video interests you, don't forget to hit that subscribe and notification bell, and I'll let you know whenever I produce new videos. Till next time, take care.